Hello and welcome to our group project. This is a team Avengers and this is our code editor. Before we go into our project though, I want to go over how our project was built and what it was based off of. We used the JavaFX framework for our UI. When creating the UI though, we found that it was very difficult for us to hand code the UI and have it be accurate how we want it to look like. So we found this neat application called Scene Builder, which is free and open source, and it basically allows you to have drag and drop JavaFX UI. It allows you to customize how it scales, how big it gets, if you can attach it to a VBox, which allows you to grow its boundaries, which is what we use in order for our application to let it grow and change sizes to screen resolutions, which made it just much nicer to read on different resolutions monitors. Now when you first launch the application, you'll see this as a home screen. What makes this nice though is because we wrote this in Java, and Java runs on basically any computer in the world. It allows us to custom build this for a very diverse amount of computers. So even if me on a Mac, I'm able to run it as well, including my group mates who use Windows. They're also able to run this as well and have no issues at all.
Alright, this is our code editor. So we can start by first creating a project. We'll call it a project. And we can go pick a location here. You can write it manually, but it'll be easier if you just look it up. So we go to desktop, select folder, then enter. There's a project. Let's also close it real quick, and then we can open it up again. Here you go, and then a project right there. Perfect. So now let's create a file. We'll call it file 1. Enter. And then let's create 2 files. File 2. Enter. 2 files. Now let's try to write something in them. Let's write this one. Hello world. This one. And then we'll go back to file 1. Saves, there you go, perfect. And then let's just save these just in case. Save these. Then we'll save the project. Then we can remove right here. Remove it. Perfect. And then let's write some actual code here. So we do public class file 1, public static void main, go system out dot printing line hello, and then we can compile it, and it compiles. Execute. Oh, let's first look at statistics. So statistics, load, to show you some statistics, the word, the number of appearances, appears once, void appear once, static appears once, public appears once, class appears once, this first file 1 public appears once. So those are the statistics. Execute, but as you can see, there is a problem with execution. Everything's created, but it just cannot find the jar file for some reason.
Now when talking about design patterns in our project, we had a couple ideals in mind. First of all, our project, we knew that the project was kind of the foundation of the whole system. It was, it stored all the information, it stored all the file information, the location of the files, all the, the things it needs to run, all the class generated files from the compiling files, the jar file, that stuff that runs, So a project file is very important. It stores lots of information, but also be organized in a way that was very easy to retrieve that information and organize it and sort through it if needed. And so our idea was having a project object that would be, basically the whole project, and we'll have, just a list of all the files, or list of all the dependencies, or list of, whatever compiled files there are, or whatever jar files there are in a project. And any other settings we could have in there, if we want to add user settings in there, we could have, but that was something we could add in the future, because that would require a different, require a setup of layout. And from there, our main UI was designed around that. So our UI was built around using that project object, and each button on there accesses that project object, and modifies in some way when you're moving a file, when you're adding a file, when you're opening a project, when you're compiling or executing it. It was always modifying a project object. Now for the compile execute part of the program, that part was a bit more difficult for us, because none of us have ever done any kind of Java class loading or compiling or executing from within Java before. So this is new for all of us, but it was very interesting and cool to learn. And so we first looked into the Java class loading, custom class loader paper we were given. From there, we were able to figure out how to create custom.class files. So we were able to compile programs within programs, which is awesome to see how it goes through each byte, and it compiles it and does all the stuff it needs to do. And from there, we took a while for us to figure out, but once we did figure out, we figured out that we were able to use the console and just run the commands from console, and we can redirect the output of console to our output program. And so we can just run it in verbose mode if wanted, to show all the information. It shows a lot of information that could be useful, especially when you're running the program. We can show it in verbose mode, where it shows all the information, memory, the garbage collector, what methods are running right now, all that information. Now onto the challenges we face, some of the big challenges we face in our project. And so starting off our project, we kind of ran into a lot of issues. At first, we decided to use JavaFX, and we should have realized that at the beginning, but it took us a while to realize that while it is cool to use a new software and program that's unknown to us, it takes a lot more research than we thought it would take. It took us a lot of time to figure out just how to even get the basic things running, because of how different JavaFX is from what we're used to. It's very picky in how it runs, and if you're running it wrong, or you compile it a different way, it won't run. It'll just get angry and crash. And that was a big issue we had for a while at the beginning. We were unable to even run some of our programs on some people. For example, one of our group members wasn't able to run his program at all. He couldn't run it at all and test it, so he'd have to ask us to test it for him if he ever had any code to test. And we figured it out eventually, but it took us a while to figure it out. But what is nice though, IntelliJ did have a lot of the tools that were helpful, making it very easy to do, and it just took a while to figure out how to set those tools up correctly and they can work together. Looking back on it now, while we did overcome these challenges by just learning how to use the software, which took us a while, we could have just switched over to a much easier framework. For example, we could have switched to the Swing framework from Java. That would be much easier for us to use. We would be able to have our code just work every time. But the downfall, I believe, would be it's much harder for us to just visualize and get the code looking how we want it to look like. I found it very, very easy to build this code, to build the UI using JavaFX. While in Swing, I find it very hard for me to do personally, to be able to build a nice looking UI. And I think one of the biggest challenges that we still have yet to overcome, or yet figure out truly how to work, is just working as a group. Each of us had our different busy lives, different classes. Some of us had work, some of us were just had long commutes, so it was very difficult for them to come to class or come to meetings when it's an hour and a half commute from where they live. And so we worked online a lot of the times, which is it worked out pretty good, but there are times when communication is a very big issue. For example, we had a compile and execute part that I assigned some of the members, and while they were able to figure out some of it, it took them a while to communicate that, because they were probably busy, or they didn't want to, they weren't able to find someone online to talk to. When you work with someone online and you just talk to someone about your code, it's always much easier for you to get your ideal out there and figure out any issues you have, because you have someone to talk to. It's like you're just getting constant feedback on what you're saying, and you just understand, okay, yeah, maybe if I do this way, it's incorrect. Oh, I see now why. Okay. And so because of that, I think that lack of that communication, the talking, made it very difficult for us to have our project be efficiently done. We were able to get things done. It just was be very brute force, kind of okay, let's get it done. We'll make it pretty and efficient afterwards when we're going next iteration. In the end, I think this project was a very good learning experience for all of us. We all learned what our advantages and disadvantages are in group work. We know where to improve ourselves now. We know where to work on in the future. We know all these cool new tools like code smells, and all how to work in a group and how do you organize and how iterations work. So I think it's more. We learned a lot from this.